Hello and welcome to Hardway Learning. Today we've got a very special vehicle. It's the
2019 Audi E-tron Edition One. Brand new. I think the first deliveries have come through in the last, week or two. Maybe 3.
This one's got a few nice features.
It's got the Edition One package, which I haven't done all the research, but I'm assuming it's the first launch shipment.
I don't know if that adds all these cool lights or...
The things I remember for the Edition One are the bigger 21-inch wheels.
The brakes.
The orange-colored calipers. This kind of gray and black inlaid wood. I forget what they technically called it.
We've got Audi E-tron Quattro. Base price $74,800. Packages and options, we have the beautiful Daytona Gray Pearl effect, which is a nice kind of a
subtle
gray.
metallic gray. Yeah.
That's understated, so it's not loud, it's not shouty. You look at this and if you don't know what an e-tron is, it just looks like another Audi SUV, really. But it is also gorgeously designed. And we've got the Prestige package, which gives you driver assistance plus package, which I believe is probably a part of all the extra safety features.
Now, Kyle, I'm going to hold you up here for a second. We're stopped, and we're going.
Honestly,
kind of not ridiculous.
It's quick.
Yeah. You probably lose a little bit of the sense of speed because you're not hearing shifts and that sort of...
Quiet.
It's dead quiet. So that's one of the other things. I think this dynamic package it gives us.
The Prestige Plus is the dual pane glass.
Yeah, double paned glass.
Acoustic glass. We've got an air ionizer, so we don't smell any poop from farms.
Yeah, here in the Midwest, prone to smelling some uncomfortable.
That's something you
smells.
need is the ionizer. You got Velcona leather individual contour front seats with memory, which I noticed earlier. Not only does the driver have 2 memory settings, but the passenger also has 2 memory settings. If you swap keys with the wife, it'll maybe go to each memory setting for the respective.
And I also noticed when I got in here, it had a drop-down menu before even hitting the start-stop button that allowed you to choose from a list of probably at least 8 profiles, which I'm sure saves settings for the radio, the seat, whatnot for the driver.
We have heated and cooled seats that also massage. I'm currently on the stretch program, doing a really great job with my lower back. I don't feel anything on the seat, but mostly on the back. We have a heads-up display, power door closer, so if you just didn't quite get that door closed, okay, that's pretty torquey. Didn't quite get that door closed, it'll suck it in for you. Sunshades for rear windows. They're not electric, but they're manual. Ambient interior lighting plus package, so that's got to be all these
blue
kind
LEDs,
of cool
which
LEDs.
I believe everything is kind of
I'm sure it's
configurable.
Right now we're kind of zen, feeling the blue colors. Maybe we're getting a little fierce. We're going to change those colors to red.
A lot of the settings, in a sensible fashion, aren't selectable while driving.
These inlays are the Volcano Gray Ash Natural Wood. Black cloth headliner. We've got a fully panoramic sunroof, it looks like.
It just keeps going.
Edition One puddle lamp. Ooh, those were kind of cool. We'll get a shot of that. Night vision assistance. It has an infrared night vision system in the dash.
We don't have anything in front of us that is identified right now. So maybe once we're in traffic we'll show. But yeah, infrared forward-facing camera gives you a little more insight into, what could be out in front of you. I suppose in a foggy situation or something like that. It's real helpful.
We've got the cold weather package, which heated rear seats, adaptive windshield wipers with heated washer. Wow. Enhanced cabin and battery preconditioning.
So a couple cool things I was reading about this. Audi claims a 5.5 second time from 0 to 60, and they claim that consistently over a number of launches because both electric motors, front and rear, have a liquid pass-through for cooling. So not that you're going to be drag racing this thing, because honestly it's not. as brutal as a Tesla or something like that. It still will be consistent in terms of acceleration one time to the next. And I guess in the comparison to a Tesla, one thing that you definitely kind of get used to, assuming you have the setting turned on in the Tesla, is that regenerative braking feature in a really aggressive sense, where you can almost drive with a single pedal. Letting off the throttle, it'll do an aggressive regenerative brake that will totally
slow down,
supplant what normally would be applying the brakes. So you can almost drive exclusively with a single pedal. This doesn't have that. There is a regenerative braking feature, which is selectable by what would normally be the shifting paddles on the steering wheel. There's only 3 settings, no regenerative, 2 increments of regenerative, which...
So a mild and a slightly less mild.
Yeah, and the statement mild and slightly less mild is pretty accurate, because I'm in the most aggressive setting right now. I'll get up to 30 here. I'm on the most aggressive setting. We're kind of going up a little bit of a grade, but I let off and...
We're going 20, 15, 14, 9, 7, 5.
So I'd say that was like 12, 13 seconds to get down to a rolling speed, which in
and
a
that
Tesla...
was the most aggressive?
Yeah, which in a Tesla... That's going to come immediately.
Stopped.
I don't know. I've only had a couple experiences driving electric cars, and I don't know that feature is something I like. So I'm not too upset one way or the other. Kyle,
I drove a Model 3, and I thought it was super cool. Not only because it just gives a completely different driving experience, but also that you're going to use your brakes a lot less. So it's just like one more thing that is going to further your maintenance periods. Because, like, what do you need to change on an electric vehicle? Tires and brakes. And then long term, maybe batteries.
Actually, let's go.
And maybe it's something that Audi's working on, and they will add more aggressive regenerative braking. It's certainly something that would be controlled by software.
Excuse us for a moment. So... pretty aggressive throttle application there, and it's quick. There's no doubt it's quick.
I would say
we've been a little spoiled rolling around in the RS3 and a couple other sports cars.
Here.
This is certainly quicker than my daily driver.
Yeah.
I think, Kyle, your daily driver?
I would say it's faster than any car that I have ever owned, and I would also say that you probably aren't buying this car to go fast. You're buying it because it's incredibly quiet. Maybe you're a little bit environmentally conscious.
You got shorter commutes. You're not too worried about, a long drive, cross-country driving. And to be honest, I've read this a couple times, but most of the people in the demographic here that are going to pay more than 75, 80 grand or more for an SUV probably have more than one car, and probably are going to be able to, take whatever other vehicle for a long road trip, assuming that's something that you want to do.
I have to say, this is maybe one of the quietest cars I've ever been in. You don't hear any sort of like panels creaking or rattling. You obviously don't have engine noise. You hear a nice little hum from the motors. That acoustic glass is incredible. We're in our own little world right now.
Yeah, outside of the fact that obviously it's an electric car, I think 99% of any other vehicle I've ridden in, aside from, luckily, once I got to ride around in a Bentley Musan for a little bit. That's the only vehicle I've ever been in going down the road that was quieter than this. And it's ridiculous how quiet it is. That's outside of just the fact that it's an electric vehicle.
It's kind of sad it doesn't feel that fast.
And again, we say that, and whatever that acceleration was, that was well over freeway speeds in probably 7 seconds. It's certainly not slow. You're not going to struggle on an entrance ramp. It's not a sports car by any means.
I also think that it's just way less dramatic in how it's delivering the power. There's no shifts. It's just that constant pull. So you kind of lose your sense of speed because it's so smooth and quiet.
And I believe the equivalent of the kilowatt rating for this is about 400 horsepower. And I think the torque figure is, somewhere in that high 400s to low 500s. So it's not slow, but it's a 4,000 pound, pretty large SUV.
People
so
holler.
It's got a lot of weight that it's got to be carrying around for the two motors that it has. Ultimately, I don't think the target for this vehicle was to be a drag racing monster or anything. You know, it's just a comfortable people hauler, daily driver, commuter vehicle. We say that casually as it's almost a $90,000 vehicle, but
One other thing I'd like to touch on is this haptic touchscreen.
this dual touchscreen system from Audi, I wasn't too sure how to feel about it. I really liked the old MMI system with the center dial and whatnot. I was really accustomed to that. It was intuitive, easy. But this, ultimately, after playing around with it just a little bit, I'm pretty comfortable with and pretty surprised with how nice it is. So it's not something here where you kind of have a little bit of a touch and you have to worry about any like unknown feedback turning into a button push. You have to give a steady or a healthy push in here, and it gives you a haptic click feel that you'd be accustomed to from any other sort of real button.
And I think the screen is actually moving a little bit.
Yeah, it's definitely got a little tactile response, but it gives you an audible click that I think is generating itself.
It's confidence inspiring too.
Yeah, but you're not accidentally pressing something. You're not worried about it. And the scrolling and stuff like this is real smooth. Panning through all these menus is easy and quick. That touch is great. But to select, you're not running into worrying about accidentally pressing any of this until you give it a healthy click. I didn't ever think I was not going to be impressed by this vehicle, but brief first impression, feels great. Feels like a pretty nice fucking Audi, Kyle.
So one other goofy thing is you look at this and you're like, oh, this looks like this whole thing's gonna move, but this is solid. You shift with this guy. So if you go into drive, we just do that. We're in drive. Oh, so there's 3 different positions. 1, 2, down, and it chills up in the 3rd position. Then you go into park, kaboom. What is the difference between D and S? Do I just...
Okay, it's recording.
So Dan was a little bit of a fool and he didn't have it in S. So we're gonna try a launch again. So Dan was a little bit of a fool and he didn't have it in S. So we're gonna try a launch again. 3, 2, 1. That felt faster, didn't it?
It doesn't feel slower.
And I see like a little, there's like a white bar.
Yeah, I
was
saw
like,
it. Maybe we'll get that again in another launch. It felt quicker.
I think it was faster.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh yeah. From there.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it's way faster.
So he's giggling. My dumb ass driving this the first time.
Was in drive the whole time. And it's way snappier now.
As I lean whilst
hit full throttle, it fills the whole bar and then slowly lets off. So it's like giving you that extra snap, I think.
For a second, and then it's gonna be hard to hold steady.
Hello, Ossifer.
So in full Doug DeMuro fashion, we're just scrolling through, and one of the things I found that's obviously fun in every vehicle, interior lighting. Solar?
Solar is solar like a red?
Well, there's only one way to find out. Maritime, nice blue. Solar, orange. That makes sense. Impulse. Options, the drive select one lets you go through, and then as we change from like our individual mode to off-road, the default is blue. All-road, I think the default is also blue. Efficiency, it changes to a white, and I'm assuming maybe when we're actually in drive, it might change to green on like regen. But then we go down to the last option, which is individual. And that lets you really kind of go through. So I did the Vikings preset, being that we're from Minnesota, where you can adjust individually the line lighting and then also the surface lighting underneath. Be a real patriot. And then, there's some white accents.
Captain America.
So, you want to refuel, charge up. Kind of a courtesy light under there. This little guy allows you, so you got your charger here. You just stick her in.
But we definitely have more.
Oh, this just started pulsating like it's charging up here. Kind of neat. And then to disconnect it, this is locked in place, I think, until you hit the button there. I think it allows you to disconnect it.
The trigger before.
Oop. Automatically closed there. So I'm just sitting here. We were kind of wrapping up, but I was thinking what other things would be weird looking at in this vehicle, and I realized, I wonder what's under the hood. Neither of us have any idea, but might as well check it out. You'd hope it was a little extra storage, and no storage.
Wait, what about?
Oh, a little tiny bit.
Storage.
This looks like an charge adapter for maybe a more typical, or no, this is just for a 120 volt.
There's some wizardry noises going on right here.
I couldn't tell you the first thing about anything we're looking at here. I don't know. It's warm under here. Something's been going on. Smells like electronics.
Washer fluid.
That's typical as what you would find on a traditional vehicle. Gives you a charging in progress indication on the dash here. I don't know how well you can see it. There's a little graphic of charge cable and then what would presumably be a battery indicator. Can't listen to that.
Oh, cool. So you just slide your finger to adjust the temperature. What are we picking up?
I mean, I'm getting a scent at least, which is weird. What's winter smell like? Subtle?
Salt.
Strong! Yeah, road salt and sadness. This one actually legitimately just smells like kind of a men's cologne. Footwell, temperature deviation.
Jeez.
For both driver and passenger.
Oh, it's like you can have it
warmer or
yeah.
cooler in comparison to the...
Yep, that's crazy.
Timer? I don't even know.
Oh, that's probably so you can like have a
Colder
prepare
one.
the car before you get in.